Hey everyone, I just got done watching Pan. It's the new installment of the Peter Pan movies, and I know we've had a lot, um, but this one just came out last year, and at the very beginning of the movie, it actually says, hey, you've heard this story a lot of times, as they do a lot with other Disney classics, Cinderella, Snow White, stuff like that. And I think they were right, though. I think that this one is different. I think that there's a different timeline. You still have all of the core parts of the story. You still have, the orphanage in Great Britain and the Lost Boys. You still have the tribe and the pirates, Tiger Lily, Captain Hook, Peter Pan and Wendy, the fairies, fairy dust. You still have all those things, but it's a different mixture. I feel like they took the ingredients and they kind of switched around a bit and they added in something different. And it worked. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a great movie. Without getting into too many details, so the costumes were retro. Um, the pirates wore kind of like sparkly shoulder pad type outfits. Imagine if they had lived in the Citadel in the Hunger Games, if you've seen those movies. The beards are weird and, it's almost steampunk, but then it's also a little indie and it's a kind of, goth or punk. And then you have the tribal people that they look like they're about to run the Color Fun Run, and the one where they throw all the colored dust on you and all that stuff. Um, the Lost Boys are miners instead of just like hanging out. Um, anyway, so I'll get into the plot. There's a few spoilers, so just be forewarned. It starts off with Peter Pan as a boy, but they don't call him Peter Pan. They just call him Peter. And he's in the orphanage, and there's this, of course, this horrible woman running the orphanage, which I feel like it happens all the time. Why is it always horrible people running orphanages? Like, does anyone do a background check on these people or what? But this person that runs the orphanage has come up with a plan to sell the orphans to the pirates of Neverland. And so they come in the middle of the night and they steal all these orphans, Peter being one of them, and they bring them to Neverland. And they come in on this flying ship, and everyone is chanting "Smells Like Teen Spirit" from Nirvana, which is kind of crazy. Blackbeard comes out. He is the head of the pirates. He's played by Hugh Jackman, and it took me at least 20 minutes to figure out who he was. He looks so familiar, but you couldn't tell it was him. It was crazy, just an absolute chameleon. And so he's the head of all the pirates, and they're trying to mine for fairy dust because apparently fairy dust makes you eternal or something like that. And none of the miners know this, but all the orphanages from all around the world have been selling their kids to the pirates in order for them to mine. Um, Obviously, Peter doesn't like this. He's caught stealing fairy dust, and he goes to walk the plank. He falls off and ends up being able to fly. It's a crazy premise, but that's how Peter Pan starts. So now we have Peter and his new friend, Mr. Hook. Not Captain Hook, not quite yet, but it's like James Hook or something like that. And so they end up pairing up, and they're friends, Peter Pan and Captain Hook. Who would have thought? And they try to escape, and they try to find the tribal people because that's who they hear know where the fairy village is, the fairy fortress, whatever. And Peter's mother is supposedly in the fairy fortress. And so they find the tribal people, and Peter has to try to convince them that he is the Pan. He's this Peter Pan. He has a little pan flute on his necklace, and that like gets him about halfway. But he needs to fly again. So he's trying to fly, and he doesn't quite get there. The pirates find the tribal people. There's an enormous fight. No one really dies. It's not bloody because the tribal people burst into colorful dust when they get killed, I guess. And then you don't really see any pirates die, and it's interesting. It's definitely a kids' film because it's not scary. It's not really that violent, but it's definitely a twist on the classic of Peter Pan. So at the very end, you have this huge climax where there's these flying pirate ships, barreling towards the fairy citadel, and Peter is finally learning how to fly, and Captain Hook is trying to save Tiger Lily because they have fallen in love, and Tiger Lily is battling against Blackbeard, and everyone's kind of fighting against each other, and it's just it's a crazy ending. The big spoiler is Wendy, who we all know is the older child from the classic movie, who gets taken to Neverland by Peter Pan. She ends up being Peter's mother, which is different than the normal story, obviously, but it kind of tied in pretty well, and I think they hid the fact, they gave clues along the way, but they hid the fact that was the big spoiler at the end. Unfortunately, she has passed away by the hand of Blackbeard, and Peter avenges her and kills Blackbeard. He basically just falls into the abyss, and Peter, gathers up the fairies and he fights against the pirates, and it kind of does that. Oh, and they lived happily ever after on Neverland. Um, it was a crazy movie. I think that it was very interesting. It was very exciting. I think a lot of kids would like it. Would like it. Like I said, it's not violent or anything, so I think that it's fun for the whole family. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, thanks very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know down below. If you have any other movies that you'd like me to watch, let me know below as well. And I'll see everyone in the next video.